Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The showdown over the India-China clash at Taiwan continues in Parliament. Former Congress President Sonia Gandhi chaired a meeting of party MPs and accused the centre of covering up the border clash. Opposition parties are adamant on a discussion on China since this clash was reported. But the centre is insisting that sensitive issues can't always be discussed in Parliament, given past instances where the Congress government also didn't debate in Parliament over several such issues. Amidst the tussle, though, the collective opposition once again faces the charge of mocking the border clashes, the Indian Army, and downright trivialising the issue of national security. Uddhav Sena MP Sanjay Raut today dragged in China into domestic politics while speaking on Belgavi border tussle with Karnataka, claiming China has entered India, he announced. First, Rahul Gandhi said, "Hamare jawan pit rahe hain." Now, Sanjay Raut suggests that they will emulate China while entering some hostile territory. Is the opposition displaying rather overt schadenfreude, as if they have some glee over what is happening with China just because of the government in power, while mocking Indian forces' bravery and trivializing national security? We'll take these questions to our guests in just a bit. Is the opposition indulging in trivializing of national security or not? Take a look at two examples in detail. Now, Rahul Gandhi, remember, had infamously said only a week ago or so that Chinese are thrashing Indian jawans in Arunachal. Mind you, this is despite the fact that a purported video of 2021 shows that actually the Indian soldiers gave a thrashing to the PLA. Then Sanjay Raut today says China has entered. In the context of India, we will also enter Karnataka, he boasted, while speaking on the Belgavi issue, the border issue between Maharashtra and Karnataka. Now, they have needlessly dragged the Indian forces and China in even to a state border issue. Then if the opposition claims that we respect the army and national security, does that claim hold? Now, one of the things that has been completely muddled post Galwan, in fact, in 2020, are claims and counterclaims on exactly what happened and what is the result what has transpired with China. Congress had continued to claim that China has managed to grab land post Galwan. Where are these claims coming from? We don't exactly know, because there are no official sources on this. Also, because the amount of land they claim has been grabbed changes from time to time and from person to person. So take a look at what Rahul Gandhi specifically has said. On December 16, 2022, which is just a few days ago, he had said that China has taken 2,000 square kilometers of India, which martyred 20 Indian jawans and beat up jawans in Arunachal Pradesh. Note, 2,000 square kilometers. On September 14, 2022, he had said the Prime Minister has given 1,000 square kilometers of territory to China without a fight. The figure came down to 1,000 square kilometers. Rahul Gandhi earlier in 2020 had claimed 1,200 kilometers have been taken over. Now there is Jairam Ramesh. What has he said? He's the current Congress media cell head. On December 18, 2022, he had said, after 16 rounds of military level talks, the Chinese remain ensconced on 18 kilometer deep into Daksa. Manish Tiwari, also from the same party, in 2020 had asked, not claim exactly, is it a fact that the Chinese have illegally occupied 40 to 60 square kilometers of our territory? Now here is what the army and the government have said on the matter since the Galwan clash. So first up, March 30, 2021, then Army Chief M.M. Naravane had said, and I quote, "We have not lost out on any territory. We are where we were before this whole thing started. Not an inch of land has been lost." Does the Congress then not believe him? November 11, 2021, then CDS Vipin Rawat had said they are building this infrastructure in context of villages, etc. This kind of so-called villages, which are well within their side of the LAC, they have not transgressed anywhere on our perception of the LAC. Even the government has responded on the floor of the House. I quote MOS External Affairs V. Muralidharan from March 17, 2021. He had said in Lok Sabha, since April-May 2020, the Chinese side undertook several attempts to unilaterally alter the status quo along the LAC in western sector. These attempts have been responded to appropriately by our armed forces. Now, you could argue this is a little bit vague, but the army statement wasn't vague at all. And then finally, on December 13, 2022, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spoke in Parliament on the Taiwan clash. He said, that on 9 December, PLA's troops tried to transgress the LAC in Yangtze area of Tawang sector and unilaterally changed the status quo. He accepted what the Chinese are trying to do. But remember, he did go on to say the Indian army bravely prevented the PLA from transgressing into our territory and compelled them to return to their post. So again, where does the claim that land has been grabbed come from? The other big charge the government faces is that they are not discussing something as crucial as Chinese threat in parliament. The government has categorically said such matters of national security cannot be discussed so openly. But they have also given some precedents to strengthen their claim. From March 2007, a debate on the fatal Maoist attack on JMM MP Sunil Mato did not take place. There was no debate on this issue because it was termed a sensitive one. November 2007, serial blasts in Uttar Pradesh issue was not discussed. 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks issue. It was asked for, a debate was asked for on this issue in March 2009, but that debate did not take place. February 2009, the Sri Lankan situation, our neighbours of course. This is something that has been revealed by Harivansh Narayan Singh, Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He mentioned this while refusing the debate on the subject on December 15. Congress though could claim they did discuss China during their time. But what did then UPA government actually say and what did it expect of the opposition? Take a look. On December 14, 2011, while refuting charges that China was making an all-out effort to attack India, Dr. Singh, our former Prime Minister, had said, and I quote, "Our government does not share the view that China is out to attack India." He had also gone on to say, there are problems on the border, but by and large, the border remains peaceful. He had added, there are sometimes intrusions according to us, but the Chinese perception of the LAC sometimes differs. These matters are sorted out between the area commanders on both the sides. And finally and importantly, he had said, relations between India and China are sensitive. Therefore, I think great responsibility lies on all concerned not to say things which can be misunderstood. So will the Congress now follow its own advice? With that in the back, I ask the question, with statements like "Hamare jawan pit rahe hain" and "China has entered India," is the opposition trivializing national security?
जिन्होंने 2000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर हिंदुस्तान का उठा लिया, जो हमारे जवानों को अरुणाचल प्रदेश में पीट रहे हैं।
वैसे तो उनकी सरकार जो दिल्ली में बैठी है वो भी इनकी भाषा करते हैं कि चाइना को इन चीज भी नहीं देगी, लेकिन चाइना घुस गया है, हम भी घुसेंगे।
सदन में चर्चा चाहते हैं, जो चाइनीज आक्रमण कर रहा है उसके बारे में सदन को इंफॉर्मेशन दो। एक तरफा उत्तर हुआ तो उसका क्या मतलब?
2005 में जब मैं अपोजिशन में थे और चाइना बॉर्डर का इशू उठाया था, तो उन्होंने बोला कि चाइना बॉर्डर का जो इशू होता है वो बहुत सेंसिटिव होता है, इसलिए पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा नहीं करके उसको इंटरनली डील करना चाहिए।
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. Rajiv Pandey is BJP spokesperson. Charan Singh Sapra is from the Congress party. Sanjay Gupta is leader of the Shiv Sena from the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Karan Verma is political analyst, and Major General Gigi Dwivedi is joining us. In fact, Major General, let me begin with you. There are many issues that are coming up for discussion post the Tawang clash, and quite rightly, many of those issues should be discussed as to, what is the nature of the threat vis-a-vis China, what is China attempting, how prepared are we, etc. But I want to draw your attention, without dragging you into the politics of the day, on the statement, for example, that have come to light recently, and particularly Sanjay Raut's statement, where he says, China has entered India, just like that, we will also enter Karnataka. Do you think such statements are something that political people should be indulging in? Because ultimately, I'm not sure if they have the knowledge to comment on what China has done and where it has entered.
Well, Shivani, first and foremost, what I like to state through your channel to all our political friends and also citizens that security is a national issue, and this should be taken as a national call and not by the parties and interfighting. I think this time to sit down together and get as to what is China up to. After all, we are seeing a pattern, after Xi Jinping came to power in 2012, there's a pattern that has emerged, and that pattern is the aggressive behavior of China, PLA, and of course the leadership. And having served in China and having served in all our borders, I like to make few points for the larger, I would say, perception of our other panelists. Look, Chinese since 2012 have been aggressive, and there's a pattern, what I have stated. In 2013, PLA came to Depsang. 2014, they came in Chumal. And incidentally, that time, President Xi Jinping was on visit to India. And then 2017, Doklam happened. And 2020, we had Chinese coming in a large number, about 3 division strength in eastern Ladakh. That is the point that I am trying to make, is that Chinese behavior have been very aggressive since Xi Jinping came to power.
Right.
Secondly is, what have been our response? Our response, we have not been aggressive, but we have defended our line of control, line of actual control, and our territory very resolutely and with a very firm response. To tell you, I commanded my battalion in Pegongsu area. Now Chinese came in, but we went and occupied Kailash range, and Chinese are forced to go back to Finger 8. Similarly, in Galwan, we had a clash, on 15 June, and Chinese were given run for their money. They suffered far more heavy casualty than us. And then, now we have got a buffer zone concept. Initially, we were patrolling point. Now we have buffer zone. Whether you take patrolling point 15 or patrolling point 14, Galwan, or Sogsalu, Hot Spring, now there is a pattern of buffer zones. So buffer zone means both sides have gone back from the contact so that there is no clash. Yes, in Depsang Plateau, they have not gone fully back because they are denying us to patrol. And that is, we are face to face with them. It's not that we have yielded that, we are contesting.
Okay.
And same thing happened in Tawang. They came in and they have been given a befitting reply, and I think they have been thrashed back and sent back to where it is. So point I'm trying to make is that Indian Army is given a very firm response, but at the political level, our parties, government, must come together. Yes, they should discuss the issue after all national importance, but that can be done in camera, because they didn't be done right in the, on the media, on the other platforms.
Okay.
They can sit together, and even government can issue out a white paper on this. But my point is that it should not be made a political issue. It's a national issue. We must.
Sir, I want to come back to you on what China
page.
is attempting to do, and how with these skirmishes it comes in, it is forced back, but then it leaves its position a little bit closer to the LAC. That is something that India needs to be wary about. But that does not translate to them capturing Indian territory.
Yes.
So when those charges are made, one needs to be very careful. And I remind all opposition of the Manmohan Singh statement only, that everybody needs to be very careful of making statements that can be misunderstood on such a sensitive issue. So first I go across to Sanjay Singh of the Shiv Sena. Sanjay Singh, संजय राउत की थोड़ी आदत है, वो ऐसे ही बात करते हैं, उनके बहुत सारे स्टेटमेंट्स वायरल होते हैं, लेकिन वो ठीक है जब आप पॉलिटिकल तू मैं कर रहे हैं. आज जो उन्होंने बयान दिया कि चाइना घुसा है इंडिया में, उसी तरह हम भी घुसेंगे कर्नाटका में, क्या ये एक सीनियर लीडर और दैट टू पार्लियामेंटोरियन को ऐसे बात करनी चाहिए?
शिवानी गुप्ता जी, किसी मुद्दे पर ध्यान केंद्रित करने के लिए कई बार इस तरह की स्टेटमेंट देनी पड़ती है कि जिससे कि सरकार का ध्यान उस तरफ जाए. 60 साल से मामला पेंडिंग है.
इतना बड़ा इशू नहीं है कि आप उसमें चाइना को घुसेड़े ना, और चाइना इतना इज नॉट दैट इन जस्ट अ रूटीन इशू कि आप सिर्फ अटेंशन ग्रैब करने के लिए, सिर्फ अटेंशन ग्रैबिंग के लिए आप चाइना का नाम उसमें घुसाएं. ये तो बड़ी फिर बहुत गलत बात है अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि अटेंशन ग्रैबिंग टेक्निक थी ये.
तो आप एक बात मुझे ये बताइए, क्या जिस कर्नाटक के जिस हिस्से को हम मराठी जो भाषी क्षेत्र हैं, हमारे देश के अंदर जो राज्यों का गठन हुआ, क्षेत्र जो बांटे गए, वो भाषा के आधार पर, संस्कृति के आधार पर ही बांटे गए थे. 60 साल से मराठी भाषी क्षेत्र वो कर्नाटक में है.
मेरे को बेलगावी का इशू मत समझाइए. आप बेलगावी पे लड़ रहे हैं, मैं उस पे सवाल नहीं पूछ रही हूँ. मैं सर सवाल ये पूछ रही हूं कि बेलगावी जैसे मुद्दे पे संजय राउत एक पार्लियामेंटेरियन होके बोल रहे हैं कि चाइना घुसा है इंडिया में, हम भी घुसेंगे कर्नाटका में। ये किस तरह की एनालॉजी है? क्या कोई भी मुद्दा आप छोड़ेंगे जिसपे पॉलिटिक्स नहीं होगा, या एवरीथिंग इज फेयर गेम? और फिर ये बोलता है ऑपोजिशन की वी रिस्पेक्ट नेशनल सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज, वी रिस्पेक्ट इंडियन फोर्सेस।
नहीं, देखिए, फोर्सेस के विषय में आप राहुल गांधी जी के जिस बयान से संजय राउत जी के जिस बयान को आप कंपैरिजन कर रहे हैं वो एक अलग चीज है। राहुल गांधी जी ने जो बयान दिया वो अलग चीज है, और यहाँ जो बयान दिया गया ये अलग चीज है। यहाँ पर जिस क्षेत्र की बात की जा रही है, महाराष्ट्र इसी देश का राज्य है, कोई पाकिस्तान का राज्य नहीं है कि कर्नाटक।
ये महाराष्ट्र और कर्नाटका की बात नहीं है संजय सिंह, आपको भी समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या सवाल पूछ रही हूँ आपसे। इसमें चाइना को ऐड करने की क्या जरूरत थी? ये एक तरह से इनसेंसिटिविटी नहीं है?
इनसेंसिटिविटी नहीं, आप किसी मामले को लंबा करने का कोई पीरियड होता है, 60-60 साल तक किस लिए केंद्र सरकारें होती है? क्या इन मामलों को अदालतें निर्धारित करेंगी? जो मामले केंद्र सरकार को निर्धारित करने चाहिए, जो सरकारों के मामले हैं,
तो ये मुद्दा आप बोल सकते थे ना, आप ऐसे ही बोल सकते थे।
बोलते हुए तो कितना टाइम हो गया? बोलते हुए कोई बोलते की कोई हद होती है कि कितना कोई बोलेगा?
तो अभी तो 1 साल पहले तक तो आपकी सरकार थी और आपके पार्टनर्स कांग्रेस कितने साल गवर्नमेंट में रहे सेंटर में, तब तो नहीं बोल रहे थे आप?
तब भी बोला गया, पहले ही बोला गया, हमने हमेशा समय समय पर इस बात को उठाया है कि जो मराठी भाषी
पाकिस्तान की एनालॉजी दी क्या? तब आपने 26/11 को बोला क्या कि जिस तरह से 26/11 हुआ हम भी यही कर देंगे? ऐसी भाषा कोई यूज करता है?
नहीं, तो इस भाषा का अंदर क्या संजय राउत जी के पास कोई मिलिट्री है? क्या उनके पास कोई चाइना की फोर्स है या
तो
कोई
किसी
की
फोर्स
है? ये सिर्फ एक बयान देने की पत्रकारिता की दुनिया में कई बार जब सरकारें नहीं सुन रही होती तो इस तरह के बयान देने की जरूरत पड़ जाती है।
Okay, so you are accepting that this is a attention grabbing technique. This is basically, you know, a shock and awe technique.
वहाँ के लोगों की जो समस्या है, इस समस्या को उठाने, अगर मान लीजिए,
no, don't make excuses for it. I don't think anybody feels that there is any analogy here, but you have accepted that this is a shock and awe policy कि हम इतना शॉक कर देना चाहते थे लोगों को कि हमने इसमें चाइना को भी घुसा दिया। Anyways, let me bring in Rajiv Pandey of the BJP in this. You're hearing what the response is. This was to shake you into attention.
Shivani ji, Sanjay Gupta has conceded that it was a loose talk to draw the attention of the people. You know, in the Maharashtra, just now that Panchayat election is concluded, they are at the last, almost twice number of seats is owned by Eknath Shinde ji group of Shiv Sena. So let's not go into that. It's a debate. The issue is that it's a very serious issue. It's the national issue. It has international ramifications, and not only Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray faction, as well as even Congress or Owaisi kind of people, they are trying to harm the image of India. They are trying to, backstab India. They are trying to dissuade and the Indian forces. They are trying to create issues which doesn't exist. Shivani ji, in your whole your documentary, which you ran at the beginning of the show, it was very clear that CDS has given a statement. Army chief has given a statement. Few days back, Lieutenant General, who is in charge of that eastern sector, has given a statement. And finally, Honorable Defense Minister has given a statement on the floor of the House. What to say more? It is such a serious issue, sensitive issue, but opposition, particularly 2-3 parties, I am saying, not all the opposition. Most of the oppositions are behaving very responsibly. But Congress party and one Owaisi, one member party, that Hyderabad faction, he is trying to create problem. I am saying, who are responsible, Shivani ji, for the safety and security of our borders, our army generals? If you are not accepting their point of view, then whose point of view will you
I'll
accept?
take that to Mr. Sapra.
Last line.
You can't debate everything. I have also been maintaining this. You can't debate everything when it concerns to China, but something you can debate.
What I'm saying, for that, when the time comes, it will be debated. I am saying right now, Honorable Defense Minister has said that there was aggression, transgression, and we have repulsed them back. The same statement is given by the Lieutenant General Kalita Sahab. Now on this issue, what to debate?
Okay,
Will
let me bring
one
in
is
Mr.
trying to-
Sapra. Mr. Sapra, there are instances
No,
that
just one line.
BJP says.
Shivani, only one line.
Yes.
I am saying now the army has stated so no independent agencies. Luckily, 2021 one video has come up.
Yeah.
Even Galwan issue has come up. Otherwise, these people would have started abusing our army that they have lost. Because now these videos clearly shows that who has beaten and who is being beaten. You see the Congress culture that their top leader is saying हमारे जवान पिट रहे हैं. पता नहीं इनके 62 में पिटवाए थे इन्होंने. 62 में जमीन दे दी. India lost several thousand square kilometer land because of the Nehru mistake.
Okay, let's not go into that
we are
because
repeating the same
everything
thing.
from past cannot be used as an excuse for what's happening today. Mr. Sapra,
No,
I have two fundamental questions to you. Why is it that the Congress that has refused to debate certain sensitive issues in Parliament when in power at the centre, insisting that there must be a debate when the government says that this is too sensitive to debate right now?
See, Shivani, when you are reminding me this, let me also remind you that there was an elaborate discussion in 1962 by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. A special parliamentary session was convened by him, and there was a
Which is post-war.
probably 2 or 3 days discussion in which 165 MPs spoke in that.
No, but
now, what
Sir,
we are
once again.
demanding as per
I've
the
heard this and
parliamentary
I've heard this
procedure-
example. How can you compare 1962 to this situation? You're talking about a session post-war.
See,
We
what
lost
I'm trying
thousands
to
of
say,
square
I'm only
kilometers.
discussing the parliament. I'm only trying to mention the parliamentary discussion, the point of
But sir, that
parliamentary
was
discussion.
post-war.
See, the opposition.
This is currently, we are not at war with China. We are currently trying to deal with Chinese aggression.
If that was post-war, this is pre-war. That's what I'm trying to say.
Are you then predicting a war?
It is within the legitimate rights of the opposition.
No, but are you predicting
No.
a war?
I'm saying the way China is moving ahead, there might be various plans of China. We need to interpret that also.
Yeah,
We
but do
can't
you
sleep
remember
at
what
home.
Manmohan Singh
The
said
issue is
on
that the
exactly
opposition-
this? When the opposition said that China is preparing to attack India, he
God.
said we don't believe that China is out there to attack us, and he said, at that time also Major General Dwivedi mentioned, these
See,
clashes
Shivani-
have been happening since
Shivani-
2013 regularly, and they've happened before that. You were mentioning
Shivani-
1962.
Shivani, what
No,
is-
my question is, sir, why is the Congress party acting like
Shivani-
this never happened under
My
you?
God. Shivani, see, number one, we are within our legitimate rights to demand. We are demanding within the parliamentary procedure, Rule 266 and 267. Now, whatever the discussion is going on the channels, if the same discussion can happen in the parliament also, what you think on the channels, what we are discussing, China is not watching or what? We can have a good discussion in the parliament. If it is an issue of national security, then the government can form a special group, a smaller group, where there can be a discussion within 4 walls. Like the Major General was now saying that there is a need for the entire nation and all the political parties to come together.
But we've
so
been
who's
saying
going to
exactly
take the
that.
initiative?
I've
That's
been
what the
asking the
opposition
Congress
is. That's
exactly
what the
that.
opposition.
There
Please
is a
don't
Defence
interrupt me.
Parliamentary
Let me
Standing
complete.
Committee. Why
Let
don't
me
you discuss
complete.
it there?
Let me complete. The initiative should be taken by the ruling party.
Okay,
they should
fair
give
enough.
an idea that we are going to discuss this within this framework of the committee. Number 2, but the opposition and the nation wants to know that what is the China specific strategy.
Okay,
Where
fair
are we
enough.
going loose?
I'm not saying that
And
you should
what is
not
the
ask those
deterrent
questions.
policy of the
I have
government?
only asked,
These
sir,
are the
once again,
things
I have only
and
asked
why
you,
the
there are
parliament
issues in
will
the
be kept in
past that the
dark.
Congress refused to discuss.
Shivani, just give me 30 seconds.
Rajiv Pandey, just wait. I have another secondary question. Congress, since Galwan has been saying our land has been captured. I have run statements from your leaders. I have run statements from army personnel and from the government in power at that time. My question to you is, why is the Congress not following Manmohan Singh's advice when he said you should not make statements that can be misunderstood, when it repeatedly says our land has been grabbed? What proof does the Congress party have?
See, Shivani, that's what I'm saying. When we sit in a meeting, it can be a closed door meeting. It will be discussed
But sir, that doesn't mean you can shoot your mouth off and say 2,000 kilometers of our land have been acquired.
It cannot be discussed on a TV channel.
No, sir, I'm sorry to say, Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, other leaders have been ad nauseum saying it in front of TV cameras that our land has been grabbed. Now, if you don't know, then don't say.
So that's what, Shivani, that's what we are saying, that the government should have the guts to answer to our questions in the parliament.
That, sir.
Parliament is the temple of democracy where they cannot lie.
Sir, you are saying it has been grabbed. It's
outside
a
they can lie. On channels
context.
they can lie, but they cannot lie in the parliament.
Sir,
they cannot lie in the parliament. That's
fair
why
enough.
we want the discussion
you
in
are
the
well
parliament.
within your right to try to corner the government. But till you get that answer, should your senior leaders be going around saying that 2,000 kilometers of our land have been acquired by China? This is made in context of Galwan. If you don't know, then don't say.
So let them prove in the parliament.
But what does this mean? Then I will allege that this has happened and then let the government prove it. This is not fair. The army chief is on record to say not an inch has been lost. You say you respect the army, but you don't believe him.
But government needs to prove the charges of the opposition. They have been countering all the charges of the opposition. Let them counter this in the parliament. That is the moot
tomorrow
question.
you will say 4,000 square kilometers have been grabbed.
Why the parliament should be kept in dark? No.
The charge in itself should come from somewhere.
Why the parliament should be kept in dark?
Sapraji, I will give you the opportunity. You tell me where has this charge come from? What is the proof? Some proof you may have. Where has this charge come from?
I am again and again saying these proofs cannot be given on media. Let them discuss in the parliament.
Then don't make these statements in media.
And let them reply in the parliament.
Karan Verma, am I wrong to ask that when it comes to our land,
in the parliament,
our land and our
your
enemies,
channel is not the temple of democracy.
Is it fair for the opposition to just, throw these charges? One day Rahul Gandhi says 2,000 square kilometers. Another day he says 1,000 square kilometers. One day he says 1,200 square kilometers. Manish Tiwari is saying something else. Jairam Ramesh is saying something else. Where are these figures coming from? If they are not accurate, why are you throwing them in the public? But for the fact that you want to muddle the waters, but for the fact that you want to create a doubt in the minds of the public, despite the statement of the chief of the army then, despite the statement of the CDS then.
Shivani, I hope I am not interrupted and the Congress spokesperson doesn't butt in. Let me just expose him now. The DGMO Galwan put out a clear statement. Now, this is not from the government. The DGMO Galwan putting out a statement that not an inch has been ceded. Again, this time around, PRO Tezpur put out a statement. The government of India, last time in 2020, they had an all-party meeting on 19th June 2020. Mr. Jaishankar explained on the map clearly to all the parties, and the Prime Minister said that yes, there was an attempted intrusion but not occupation. He cleared that out. Now, despite all these clarifications, if this Congress spokesperson is shouting here that prove it, you have been proved ample number of times, you should now talk about your responsibility rather than your rights. You are obfuscating your responsibility of a responsible opposition. And Shivani, now, Randeep Surjewala, till as late as 2 days back, he said 1,000 square kilometers have been lost. The fact is, this is a nefarious design by the Congress. For the first time, when we are in a situation like this with China, an opposition is trying to say that we've lost land. Can you imagine the dampening effect it has on the
No,
world?
if that claim came from an authenticated source, Karan, if that claim came from an authenticated source, the Congress party was willing. If the Congress party was willing to tell us what the source of this information is, what the source of these numbers are, because the numbers vary, as I said, from time to time, from person to person, then we will take it seriously because it's a serious charge. But you can't throw this charge willy-nilly with no authenticated source. When the government and the army is saying that's not true.
He should tell us the contents of the MOU. Maybe it's a deliberate design as per the MOU between Congress and CPC. That is why they are spreading this misinformation.
Okay, let's not bring that into it. Yes, Mr. Sapra, I think time has come for the Congress to explain where is this charge coming from.
Please answer.
No, the time is come. Time is come for the ruling. My God, keep quiet. time has come for the ruling party to
Karan,
explain the questions of the
please don't
opposition.
interrupt him. Please don't interrupt.
Time has come to explain why the trade deficit has increased to 74
Now you
billion
shift to
US
trade.
Change the
dollars.
topic.
Time has come to explain that why a large scale trade worth 116 billion US dollars is being carried out with China, when China is just trying to come on our borders or trying to infiltrate in or trying for incursion. There are so many questions which the opposition wants to ask. Why you don't want to discuss in the parliament, and if not in the parliament, make a smaller group and discuss.
To
Why
move
you don't
away
want
from
a
the
discussion
question
on
I
China?
asked. Karan, one
Why
second,
there
please don't
should
talk
not
over
be
me.
a deterrent policy?
Sir, Mr. Sapra,
Why there should
very
not be a
transparent
deterrent
this
policy
attempt.
for China?
I asked you categorically, your leaders have been claiming ad nauseum since 2020 our land has been grabbed. Where is that figure coming from? And if the government explains to you post Ganwan what had happened, then how can you claim? Then how can you claim you were not taken into confidence? Have you earned the right to be taken into confidence?
The temple of democracy.
Sir, have you earned the right to be taken into confidence on this issue? Post Galwan, look at what has happened. There was an all-party meeting.
Shivani, you saw how he changed the goalpost for trade.
Karan, let him speak.
Today protesting. There were 12 opposition parties. There were 12 opposition parties who were opposing today, who were protesting today at the Gandhi statue.
Shivani,
it was not only Congress party.
Channel,
Sir, that's not a defense for what Congress leaders are saying. Congress leaders, remember Mr. Khadge reminding us this is the party that won us independence. Today you are saying we are not the only one. But you are the preeminent national party. Own up. अब आप कह रहे हैं बाकी लोग भी कर रहे हैं. That is not a defense for what your leaders are saying.
अरे हम तो ये कह रहे हैं कि एक सवाल नहीं है, अगर 50 सवाल है तो 50 सवाल का
तो जवाब दीजिए. ये नंबर कहां से आया?
कमेटी बना दीजिए ना.
1000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर. चलो मैं 1000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर लेके चलती हूँ. ये कहां से आया नंबर?
पार्लियामेंट
क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होनी चाहिए प्रिंसिपल ऑपोजिशन पार्टी की?
आपके सवाल आपने कभी बीजेपी को पूछा इंडिया फाउंडेशन को कितना चेक गया या विवेकानंद फाउंडेशन को कितनी डोनेशन आ रही है?
काम नहीं है ना, मैं वो डिस्कस नहीं कर रही हूं.
आरएसएस में 10 साल में 9 मीटिंगें की, उनको कितनी डोनेशन आ रही है पूछा?
अरे ये क्या बात होती है? ये क्या बात होती है? अब आप फाउंडेशन पे चले गए, पहले आप ट्रेड पे चले गए थे. मैं आपको गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी दे रही हूँ. आप बताइए आपको कहां से इंफॉर्मेशन मिली कि 1000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर हमारे चाइना में हत्याएं हैं? आप बताइए ना.
48,000 करोड़ के एमओयू नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने साइन करवाए.
सर वो तो गवर्नमेंट के होते हैं, पार्टी टू पार्टी नहीं है. कांग्रेस पार्टी और सीसीपी की तरह
बीजेपी बंद करे.
गवर्नमेंट टू गवर्नमेंट तो होते हैं. एनीवेज, राजीव पांडे, यू वांटेड टू कम इन. आई वांट टू गिव अ फाइनल वर्ड टू मिस्टर द्विवेदी ऑन द चाइना सिचुएशन एट द एलएसी. बट राजीव पांडे,
बीजेपी बंद करेगी तब चीनी स्ट्रेटजी बनेगी.
बिल्कुल बंद करना चाहिए. आई एम इन फेवर ऑफ इट. बट राजीव पांडे, एक एक करके प्लीज, एक एक करके. राजीव पांडे,
on your channel he has accepted that he has nothing to prove that whether it is 40 square kilometer, 1000 square kilometer or 1200 square kilometer. So Congress is a habitual liar, party of habitual liars. Let them lie. People know them very well. So people will reject them. What I'm trying to say, they are disrespecting the common sense. You know, they are saying we will discuss in the parliament the strategy how to counter China, so that they are under MOU. So they will take the note and give it to China. That's why they want to do that. Second point, he is saying, we discussed in 1962. You lost more than 3,000 square kilometer land of India. You should be ashamed. If you would have not discussed, people would have not allowed you to walk. Nehru ji lost. That's why he was debating. Right now, what I'm saying, if suppose tomorrow India face threat from, and we feel that as a government or my party thinks that no, we have to discuss, because right now we know we can easily handle all these issues.
Okay,
we have
fair
seen
enough.
how Modi Sarkar is handling Pakistan and China. Even whole world knows how they are handling, Modi Sarkar is handling these people. I am saying no independent agencies. You know, there are a lot of agencies, Shivani ji, which tracks all these things.
Yeah.
Has said that India has lost even a single inch land.
No, I am very, very willing to look at any report, independent report that says that so much land has been occupied by China, but I couldn't find it. And it is not really my job to justify that claim of the Congress party. The Congress party has been ad nauseum making that claim. They must justify that claim and come prepared to justify that claim, because as they say, there can be no
they are
smoke
lying.
without fire. So
Shivani ji,
if they believe
they are
land has been
lying.
occupied, the onus is on them to explain it. One by one. Can I go across to Major General Dwivedi? Major General Dwivedi.
Proofs will be given in the parliament. Let the BJP.
Yeah.
Now, Major General
Yeah,
Dwivedi, speaking of
Shivani,
independent
if I
agencies,
can-
sir, one second.
Yes.
Speaking of independent agencies, there is an Australian study that has come out to talk about how a road that leads to 150 meters away from the LAC has come up on the Chinese side. We know that they've been bolstering their villages. We know that they have deployed even fighter aircrafts at the airports, at different airports which are bordering, let's say, Tibet and the Indian LAC. Now, one of the things that a lot of experts are saying is that the Chinese strategy is actually not to grab Indian land. The Chinese strategy is they come in, we force them to push back. In the pushback, they come closer to the LAC, which seems like a retreat. So Indians also cannot oppose. But actually, they have moved forward and created a new normal. Is that indeed a cause of concern? And how should India deal with that?
Definitely, Shivani, it's a cause of concern because, as I said in my last intervention, the Chinese have been attempting to strengthen their position on the LAC, and they are trying to strengthen, especially where they are vulnerable. Point number one. Secondly, you got to join the dots across the board that they are, building up infrastructure inside, especially in Tibet, opposite Arunachal Pradesh. If you recall, Xi Jinping was in Lhasa last July, and he made a statement that we want to make Tibet as a shield. So therefore, they are strengthening the infrastructure inside. They are coming closer to the LAC, and especially where they are in position of disadvantage, they are building up the strength.
So, sir, what should we do?
That they have upped the ante, and today we have LAC which is actually being contested at the point where there is a dispute. There was a time when LAC was patrolled. When I was the commander, we used to patrol. But today we are contesting and we are face to face. So therefore, there is a change situation. And we as a nation must take a total integrated look as to what is Chinese design. I had coined the term nibble and negotiate. Chinese do small nibbling and then they sit on the table and try to gain advantage of what are their nibble. So we need to have a very clear-cut policy against China. That is point number one. We got to strengthen our border management because today the borders are being contested. And we are in a situation which what we call is low intensity conflict or sub-conventional conflict where there are small actions, skirmishes, not a big war, but small action which Chinese are trying to change the status quo.
Experts
on the
are also
LAC.
suggesting
Therefore,
that this is putting India in a very
watchword-
difficult situation where India cannot do anything because then India will be seen as aggressive and escalating the situation. But with what the Chinese are attempting, they're also putting us in a situation where we are worried about the larger control of the land. Yes, sir, you wanted to finish? I have 30 seconds left.
Yes, and what I want to say is that we need to take a total look at what Chinese design is, understand the larger design. LAC is one of the design. Secondly is that they want to weaken India, and along with Pakistan, there is a two-front situation that we have got, and also try to cause some kind of conflict within us. So therefore, I think we as a nation need to come together and look at the security in totality and not in isolation. And we got to be on the same page and have a very clear-cut China policy and also a border defense management.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time and for your expert opinion. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. And that's a good note to end on. Let everybody come together because we are ultimately facing an external aggressor. And that threat has always existed for us. Moving on, we're getting some breaking updates. Supreme Court of Nepal has ordered release of French serial killer Charles Sobraj. He's been released on grounds of age. He's been in this Nepali jail since 2003 on charges of murdering 2 American citizens and tourists. The court has also ordered his deportation within 15 days of his release. My colleague Abhishek is joining us with more on this. Abhishek, what more details are you gathering?
So we know that Charles Sobraj has been very famous serial killer, and he has been probably known for his thrilling act and multiple series of killing almost in which about a dozen plus killing that he has accepted at times. But now he's very frail, he's very old, he has already spent 18 years in Nepal's jail. So on that basis, Nepal Supreme Court has said that now Charles Shovraj could be released. He has been languishing in jail for a long time now, and it has been enough. He has been punished enough. So he, on the ground of his poor health, he could be the president next now.
All right, Abhishek, I do thank you for bringing us more of those details. Time for a very short break, but a reminder, the Indian women's hockey team has won the inaugural FIH Nations Cup that was played in Spain. I've got members of the victorious team joining me on the other side.